Welcome to you, Kevin.
How are you?
I'm very well. You've had a big week.
It's been a bit of a week, yeah. But it's good fun.
Did you take it? No, it's not fun, Kevin. Is it because you're offended by the fact that Craig Foster has called you a racist?
Look, I wasn't happy.
No.
Would you like it?
No.
No.
But people in football wouldn't give that any credence at all. Not because you're in football, but because of your history. I mean, you were the least racist person in the world.
Look, I don't know that guy, but I'll be honest, I don't know him. But
you going to any retribution?
I think there's a fair chance something will happen.
I must admit, he's always amused me in some ways. He's been the guardian angel of his sport, but his decision to go down that track, I thought, was an insight into the bitterness that is obviously inside his soul, Kevin. But tell me about the wider community up in Sydney. How has it all settled down? Because it was a very big story in Sydney.
Well, it definitely was. And look, to be quite honest, I'd been visiting the Immigration Department over the last 2 or 3 weeks with David Matthews and Richard Griffiths, and we were looking at, and Tony Shepherd and myself had dinner with about 20 foreign, obviously, ambassadors and consul generals, because we are actually working at creating a game for like building basically international game.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to get, basically say 100 ambassadors to bring 100 people of their nation to celebrate coming to Australia to build our country.
Yeah.
And this place is about blowing it up sort of thing. But anyway, they're the sorts of work that we've been working pretty hard at, which obviously would mean that'd be 10,000 people, 100 at 100, obviously. And when you're building a game like we are in the west of Sydney, and so they're the sorts of work that we've been doing. And of course, I mean, today's actually we just opened and announced National Farmers Day, which is, I think, will be a fantastic match against Geelong. So we've had the Premier and Napdine down at Geelong, because we're going to play Geelong up in Skoda. So we're doing a lot of fantastic work. And in the end, when you think that 600,000 people have moved into the west of Sydney from other countries, it is very awkward to actually get AFL, particularly on Mother's Day at 1 o'clock. So the actual time for the match was awkward. Both codes got, I think we got 5,800, and NRL at Penrith, they got 7,500. So it's very, very different.
Kevin, let me ask you about Mother's Day. I mean, it's not as significant as the issue that we started with, but I've got a real problem with the fixturing on Mother's Day.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, well, I think we all do. I think the game does. Now, my suggestions would be that we either leave Mother's Day free or we play two of the big boys on there.
That's the best way.
Carlton or Collingwood. Or so to make people, because it's demeaning for the competition. We've had two games on Sunday, Mother's Day, that drew fewer than 20,000 in total. That's not AFL football.
And both were the baby clubs of the AFL.
Yeah.
So I thought they were pretty poor scheduling. But look, by and by, I think Mother's Day could be a great day and celebrate mums, which is fantastic.
And so a 4 o'clock game.
Or something like that. I mean, think common sense, But I mean, to put one in, this is our first home game at Skoda.
You made the point earlier, I think, in the week that you wanted the season to start earlier so you could get on
I think
to Skoda.
I love to get St. Patrick's Day up.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Who plays on St. Patrick's Day?
Well, either Collingwood or Richmond or Essendon, whatever. But give us the 17th up there, and let's get in there and right in the middle of NRL, and let's have a look at it and see if we can really make a day of that. Now, last week I was out at the Consul General in Sydney with Katrina, who was a fantastic person. We had lunch, and there's 80,000 Irish people working in Australia and 50,000 in Sydney. Now, if you couldn't make St. Patrick's Day work, well, you'd be a very, very poor marketeer.
Sheedy, you've got 15 games to go as an AFL coach, unless
30 hours,
something changes. 30 hours. What do you hope to achieve?
Well, just get every player out there that we need to look at. Obviously play better than we did last week.
Yep.
I thought that the game before that against Essendon was a pretty good game for us. We nearly level at three-quarter time. We just got them off the ropes there for a while, and the players really played well. And I think in the end, that gave them a lot of confidence. Look, I think looking back last week, which is an 8-day break, I think we're trying to. I think sometimes when you have an 8-day, you train harder or longer, and I'm not quite sure whether you handled that right, because both the seconds and the first, the NEFL team, both got poorly beaten.
You're only an inexperienced coach, so you'll learn that, won't you?
Of course.
Yeah.
You're heading down to Tassie to play Hawthorn. You got a tough run coming up.
Really?
You're
This is our 7th game on the road.
yeah. How do you approach it with these kids? You're talking about winning quarters. You're talking about learning from some great players that they're playing against.
Absolutely. I mean, look, to be quite honest, I would think that. I think if I showed you a game where we come from in the last 2 years to where we played, say, this year, I think we're mile better side. Mile better side.
You should have beaten Melbourne. That was an opportunity lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
but we didn't.
No,
Melbourne
kicked 12 goals in the last quarter.
But they had them where they
They
needed
were
them at
18
three-quarter
points.
time.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was. I was here. I thought that was a poor performance by GWS to fall apart that quickly.
So therefore, you know how tough this job is when you see that happen.
So it's just tiredness. The kids.
Oh, they just, you just don't. Well, I mean, Black Caviar wouldn't run in the Melbourne Cup.
No.
As simple as that. So,
But these kids, when they were playing at the junior, they were still playing 2-hour games of footy.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mike. Against 17-year-olds.
Kev.
Against 17-year-olds. They're not playing on Buddy Franklin. They're not actually going to. But look, that's the job. That is it. The first 2 or 3 years are going to bed the team down, right? So you get somewhere where you can make an assessment of where the club's going to be at. And that's the important part of this job. And I think in the end, and we're getting that pretty well right. I mean, we've played better without players. Say, for example, at the moment, we've lost Luke Power, James McDonald, Chad Gordons hasn't played a game, Dean Brogan's played half.
Will Chad play again?
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, he's been a fantastic person for our club.
And he'll probably stay on and be a coach. You've got to go back and replace Chad Corns, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 senior players, and the development and the success would be exponential for next year, surely.
Well, that's what happened when you and that group of boys went up to Sydney. So
You think
that's going to happen?
Like Jared, you believe that the need at the moment is for hard, bigger bodies, more experienced bodies.
Yeah. I mean, look, Satano helping. Unfortunately, hurt his calf, but he came in and kicked 8 goals. Fantastic.
In 2 games.
Yeah. And so that sort of was a bonus for us, particularly when you lose your first number 1 draft pick in Jonathan Patton.
You still get excited, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, this is an exciting job. I mean, do you actually go? I mean, look, there are certain parts where you feel that New South Wales is just another country from Victoria, and it is in its own ideology, and it's great. I mean, I really, really enjoy Sydney, and the challenge is fantastic. Absolutely a fantastic challenge. The AFL have had the balls to get out there and make it happen, and I just think that's why the coaches feel about it.
Sheedy, it's been great for you to come in. We do appreciate it.
Don't forget, National Farmers Day.
National
it's
Farmers
a game against
Day.
Geelong. It's going to be about the 8th of June. It's going to be a very important day. I know the news is coming, but Geelong versus the Giants. This is going to be one of the great icon matches. We actually finally thank the farmers of this country, the backbone for the last 100 to 200
He hasn't missed many, has he?
He hasn't lost any energy either. It is 6:57.